Maybe another coping technique is to find some time to yourself. So that means maybe allowing your child to have some play dates with somebody or go to a relative's house or somebody that you trust. Like finding time, purposefully making time for yourself. And this doesn't mean you don't love your child. This means you just need some time away. And don't you ever notice that time away from someone or something really draws you back to them tenfold? Like you have that like burning love, burning tingling feeling, like that sensation within you, like like it's like it's relieving, it's melding. And so that's why it's always great, I think, to have someone that can always be available to you. Ask for help. Community is around us for a reason. We have neighbors for a reason. We have friends, family. These people are here for us. So utilize them and use the ones that you know that will do the job that you need them to do. And everybody has a role here in each other's lives. Like we all play a fundamental role. And so, I mean, when you ask if somebody asks you to help them and you say yes, you know how good that feels inside of you. And you wouldn't do it unless you wanted to. So like that goes the same for somebody else as well, asking for help and them coming through. Like they're glad to do it. They feel honored. They would love to do it. And it's not a problem at all. And giving yourself that degree of separation, giving yourself that time is self-compassion because you care about yourself. You want the best for yourself and you also want the best for your child. So really coming to some terms with asking for help doesn't make you feel weak, look weak at all. This is just gaining some momentum for yourself, some self care, some self healing, some time to yourself to be with yourself, because that's also really important, especially when sometimes you're attached to the hip with your child. Sometimes you need this time so they can also have their time and you as well. It's like, I'll just use this analogy. It's like a dog, for instance. If you just have one dog, they need to be around their own species as well. They need to be with other dogs and they interact differently when they're with other dogs. I know mine does. Like, of course, she's great when we're just together and alone and everything. But when she sees another dog, it's their language. They're doing what they love to do. They like to play, sniff, jump around, bark, do dog things. And that's just the same with kids. Like they need to go do kid things with kids as adults need to do adult things with adults. So full circle goes all around. You need to just find some time to ask for help so you can reconnect with yourself and rekindle yourself to get back to getting all that energy, restoring your energy. And we don't give away energy. We don't gain energy. We restore energy, but we start off with energy and our energy gets worked through the day. And so you may be depleting energy as the day goes on, but you do regain some of that energy, but you don't make energy at the beginning of the day. You start off with energy and then you keep letting it go. So how do you want that energy to be restored? How do you want it to restore? Because you have it and you don't want to burn it out. So how do you restore the energy is sometimes taking some time to yourself by asking for help and taking the responsibility off yourself. And your responsibility during that time that you have for yourself is to do the things that you love to do. Self-care, huge advocate for it, like right over here. Like I love self-care. I think why not do it? What's the shame in that? There shouldn't be any. You need to do it. There's no guilt. It's guilt-free time to yourself. And sometimes that means rekindling some of your relationships around you, your spouse relationship, friendly relationships, whatever they may be, and rekindling the relationship that you have with yourself. So maybe that means you're doing some exercises, some movement, going for a walk, doing things that you love to do without knowing, like, this is your private time, like, without thinking too much about your actions affecting somebody else. This is just your time and your actions affecting you in a positive way to overcome the exhaustion. So it's about rebooting yourself every so often. And when I mean every so often, I mean like as often as possible. Like every day if you can. And that could be the most simplest things. That could be taking a bath. You can have a nice bubble bath or Epsom salt bath, light some candles, do some aromatherapy, spruce it up a bit. You have that 10 minutes to take a shower anyway. Why not take a bath and just unwind and allow yourself then to come back out refreshed? It's like going to work and taking a break. We all need it. So why not make it the best break possible? Or maybe it's, I don't know, doing a face mask, go out and tend to the garden, do things that you really enjoy to do. So really take part in self-care. It's all part of this whole frame that we're developing of taking care of our human bodies and our minds. So these are things that you can pass on generationally to your child where they also will adapt similar characteristics and qualities like that. So they can also take care of themselves. And like I said, aren't you their example anyway? So you might as well make the best example possible. So don't run yourself ragged. I mean, there's so many things that you can do for self-care and asking for help when you have time to just break away. Maybe at that time you go see a therapist and work out some of your challenges and start working on getting onto your healing journey and eliminating some stress in your life. Like all these things do help eliminate stress. And that's what we're trying to do is eliminate the chronic stress that keeps compounding that will result in burnout. So this is your time. Utilize it in the best way possible and always keep forever redesigning it, changing it, and making it better for yourself because this is something that will help you get you through being a parent and allow you to enjoy this experience because let's be honest, time flies by. People grow up quickly. Things just happen like quicker than we even recognize. So why not make this such a rewarding, fun, enjoyable, challenging time for yourself and have these things affect you positively rather than living with regret, living with guilt, living with shame, living in a negative environment in your mind where you'll just feel like you're not enough. You'll feel like you're failing. You'll feel like you're not being a good parent. You feel like it's completely impossible to achieve. So really look at how you can work through some self-care tools to help you deal with the initial onset of stress and then think about some long-term fundamental things that you can use as well. So like I said, maybe every so often you see a therapist and you get some actual professional help to deal with some of these fundamental issues that you're experiencing. Or maybe you deal with an outreach group that has like a support group for parents and be able to reach out to people like that that can give you some guidance and support. And so these are things that you need to really consider coupling with things that are more short-term self-care strategies and really making this whole all-around healthcare picture for your own self. Like this is something that you can choose to design. So for instance, I'll just give you a quick example of my own and take what you will from it, but it's just a suggestion and something that I think everybody needs to tailor to themselves because we're all different and we all have different joys, different things that we find relaxing and healing, and different things that we would even engage in whatsoever. So for me, I mean, I can't do this every day, but if I were to look at the whole spectrum as a whole, what I utilize is I constantly go to see my naturopath and go as frequently as possible. So that's maybe once or twice every month or two. So I try to go at least once a month if I can. Then I go get a massage at least once a month. I utilize that a lot. I do indulge in some Reiki, which is quite new to me, but again, seeking different things in the world that are available to me, I decided to try that to see if something would connect for me. I indulge in doing things like this. I mean, I've transitioned my career to be aligned with what I really wanted. And I wasn't one of those people straight out of school. I mean, I knew what I wanted, but I was deterred to get there. But I didn't know this was going to be my path. And so now that I have the capability of designing my own path, I've transitioned my life to follow that. It wasn't easy, and it never is, but like, notice what you want and go for it, because everyone can go for it. It's just a matter if you do it or not. So I finally decided I'm going to go for it, and here I am. So I really enjoy doing this. I really want to be here and hold space for people and allow them to find therapeutic outcomes within their own selves, so they are able to be their own bosses, their own be responsible for their own selves, be their own person, be an individual, be capable of resiliency. And we're all capable of that. It's just a matter if you tap into it or you ignore it. And so I've chosen to tap into it and really move my whole life alongside that. And I delve into homeopathy. I'm partly studying it right now, but also I engage in it. So I use it for my own health and wellness. So I love gardening. I've adapted that from learning it from other people, but I introduced gardening into my life because I love seeing things grow. My favorite color is green, ironically. I've just always been in touch with nature and plants in a different way. And also, part of my self care routine is going for a hike every so often. I wish it was more often, but going to the settings that I love to be in within nature and just seeing its organic, natural self without humans interfering with it or having little interference, and just seeing the beauty in the nature within nature itself. And I like photography, so I have a camera. I love to go out there and just find things that I find artistic or intriguing and take pictures of it and do it my own way, like create my own memories and my own sculptures and my own paintings and whatnot. So it all translates into all these different things. And so self-care is such a personal thing, which is what I'm trying to convey to you. Um, and this is something that, you have to teach your child to develop and learn for themselves, because you can put them in all these kinds of sports. I mean, when I was a kid, I was in gymnastics, I was in dance, um, I was in tons of different music facets, learning all of them. And as an adult, I'm no longer in dance. I haven't been in dance for a long time, since I was a kid. Obviously, I don't do gymnastics, but I've decided that I like yoga. So I love doing yoga. I love working out. I like to feel my body. I like to see things change. I like to feel it. I like to be in tune with it. I like to know what's going on in parts of my body. So it's kind of translated for me in different ways. And so when you're a parent, you try to equip your child with all these things. So when they're older, they can decide what's good for them, what's not good for them, expose them to things that they could consider, and then perhaps take it on, maybe even in a different way as they get older. So for my own self, I always was in piano lessons. I had taken violin and some wind instruments at that time as well. And even to this day, I'm still stuck with piano. I've still stuck with it. I love it. It's part of me. It's something that I've carried on. One of the very few things I've carried on as an interest as a child. But also now I've thrown in guitar. And I never learned guitar when I was a kid, but I still had that exposure to learning something new, exposure to trying something new as a child, that I wasn't afraid as an adult to pick up the guitar and learn that. So it's funny how things change and translate in our adult lives, if you ever think back to and look back and try to remember how things were for you as a child, and then remember that that's the environment, that's the setting that you're trying to create for your child as well, because we were all there. Let's not forget that. I feel like everybody forgets they were a child at a point. If you go back to that childlike mind, that wonder that they had, that beautiful simplicity that they harness. Imagine if you can go back there. If you brought yourself back there, it can really bring you, can really bring you an understanding of some things about yourself, of how you deal with things, how you are about things, how you make decisions, how you interpret, why you are the way you are. Like it can really answer some things about you. So that's why I'm always about self exploration and discovering yourself, because sometimes these things were ingrained in us a long time ago and we just forget about it because life happens. And if you really took the time to work with somebody like myself who deals with childlike regressions and just therapy as a whole, where I can help guide you through things, like if you are not afraid to go back there, and if you are wondering and curious enough to know where you came up with some of these things, and even the way you deal with your child, it can really give you an eye opening to why you have behavioral traits, why you react and respond in certain ways, why you do the things that you do. It can really give you a lot of resources to really understand the person that you are today, and also decide whether or not it's helping you or serving you at this time. And if it is, wonderful, fantastic, freaking awesome. But if it's not, then let's work at it. It's something you can change, it's doable. But really, if you're feeling burnout and you're struggling dealing with the stress. If your family sees you struggling and you're incapable, these are things that are within you and perhaps built within you from a long time ago, of maybe some examples you saw of how your parents dealt with stress, or how the world moved around you at that time that you were a child, and how you absorbed things and interpreted things and dealt with things at that time, and then how you got there as an adult and are dealing with things now. So there's always a starting point. Maybe we can't identify the starting point all the time, but there was a starting point for your behaviors, for your habits, for how you interpret the world, for how you deal with things, for how you see things. And it all progressively led up to the way you are today. So just simply identifying, simply observing, and trying to work with somebody like myself that can help you work through some of these psychological things that you're experiencing. It can really help you gain a good understanding, get a grasp, and really start directing your life in a mannerism that you have control over, that you can control, that you have the capabilities of reducing all these negative sensations, negative thoughts, negative feelings, and really come up, come out, rise above all these things that you've been experiencing for a long time. So you can show up and be the best parent, be a great parent to yourself, and be a great parent to the child. Because it's not like, and I would hope not, like parents didn't have us to like F up our lives, like mistakes happen along the way, things happen. It's just a matter of how we deal with them as an adult and interpret them and allow them to affect us, and healing some of those past things, past traumas, past events, past experiences can really help us be a better person overall, so we don't put our child through some of those similar experiences. And if they do ultimately go through an experience, perhaps like divorce, which could be very hard for some people, for children specifically, that they don't have those, maybe the same outcomes, or maybe some of the same traumas that we had if our parents were divorced, and some things that we went through. So I mean, I come from that kind of environment where my parents separated at my teenage, I guess mid-teens, preemie kind of ages. And honestly, like, my desire is to never have that as an outcome for my own self if I ever get to that place. So it's like how these things affect you, and how, as a parent, you can make sure you don't follow those types of footsteps. And even ultimately, if it does happen, not to go down that same path where the effects or the trauma that is caused upon the child are similar effects. So it's really about constant evaluation And it's about being a person because aside from being a parent, you still are a person. So it's always about evolving yourself, evaluating yourself, and allowing that to evolve and working at finding ways to immediately deal with things rather than prolonging them. Because as you prolong them, things get worse. And you know this. This is very logical information. We all know this. So really coming to terms with finding some ways to deal with the stress so it doesn't consume you, so it doesn't take over your joys of wanting to be a parent is so necessary in order to curb parental burnout. And it starts all with you. And this is a job that you need to do in order to overcome parental burnout, not your child, not your spouse, not anybody. This is something that you need to personally deal with because this is a problem coming and stemming within you. So when you're experiencing parental burnout, rather than playing the blame game, which is very easy for us to play, it's easier to take responsibility for why you're in this state or how you got to this state by working with a professional that can help guide you through some of the emotions that are tied with feeling chronic stress about being a parent and really helping you get past these things so you can come back to being the person that you came into this role as and even being a next elevated version of that. So it's possible. Don't give up. Being a parent is a lot of work. It's very rewarding, but it's not when you're in this defeatist mentality of parental burnout. So I just want to bring some awareness. I want to just talk to the parents out there who are struggling and know that I have your best interest with burnout and with all the stress that you may be feeling that's coming all around you, all these different directions at you, and really understand that this is a real thing that people are experiencing. And it can really snowball into some really serious states of being: anxiety, depression, forgetfulness. Maybe you're forgetting things all the time. Like it can snowball into so many different things. And then where it physically affects you, and then you can't even be physically present for your child's life and for your own life. So, screening yourself for what's going on with you, if you're already in burnout, what are your options here? Your options are to get help and to seek help and to help yourself. And looking for help, it's just it's not a weak thing. We're always looking for help. It doesn't matter if we ask for it or if we just get it. I mean, technically speaking, when you go to a grocery store, you're still getting help. Someone has to stock the shelves, stock the aisles. That's helping you get what you need. They have to have the store open. That's helping you. They have to have someone at the checkout, which is helping you. They help you bag your groceries. Like there is indirect help, and then there's asked help, so more direct when you actually need something. So help is all around. You just don't even realize that somebody's helping you because it's not obvious, because it's not like we're just so hardwired and programmed to just step into the store and grab what we need and go. But they're all helping us. So why not be pleasant with the person that's helping us? Or be pleasant in the environment that's helping us and be pleasant with ourselves for getting the help, for the capabilities and the comfort that we have in that kind of help. Like help is all around us. So if you need extra help and you need specific help, then ask for it because it's out there. Look for it. It's available. And help is all around. It's disposable to us. It's so disposable that we don't even recognize it. And so really bringing awareness to how you feel, how you've been feeling, and know that there's a possibility to feel differently should you choose to. This is all comes and stems within you, but it's all something that you need to decide to do all on your own. So I hope you're able to get some value about all the issues that you could be experiencing from parental burnout. And I'm sure there's a lot more that you're experiencing. This is just a quick overview just to kind of bring some awareness to all the parents out there who I know are burnt out, who I read about, who I see, who are strong enough to put themselves out there to let people know that they're experiencing some troubles with being a parent, who aren't afraid to be honest and really help yourself, help your mind, help your life by taking advantage of what's out there and start doing some research for yourself. Not only just research on the computer, I mean, like research about your mind, your body. Write it down, create a log, journal it, whatever that may be, whatever's easiest for you, wherever you can find that 5-10 minutes of the day to really tune in and hone in, like really find that space for yourself and start doing that research, start doing that search for deeper meaning, for a better connection, for a more quality type of lifestyle. And that'll give so much more to you and your child and allow you to enjoy parenting. So when it does one day, kind of change as they grow up, you're able to change and mold with it and still feel really good about yourself and feel all the benefits, ups and downs, ins and outs of being that amazing parent. So I hope you're able to get some value out of that today. I'll see you guys really soon.